Well, the next Triumph Over Adversity finalist I had the great pleasure of talking to was Phoebe Aubrey from the Natural Design Studio. They specialise in designing sustainable gardens that improve the well-being of their clients by taking a holistic approach. Passion for the environment is central to each one of their designs, and the ultimate aim is to create stunning ethical designs that have the potential to restore and replenish natural systems. The Natural Design Studio are committed to creating garden designs that are both restorative and regenerative to people and nature. They see the need for gardens to be recognised as an important part of the modern ecosystem, supporting wildlife far beyond the walls of the garden. So as a keen gardener myself, it was a real treat to catch up with Phoebe earlier in the week.
I guess many of our finalists have had to overcome great personal tragedy in some way alongside keeping their businesses and ambitions going. But for the Natural Design Studio, I get the sense actually that the adversity is more in the notion of the design and what you're trying to do in achieving a sense of place and purpose with your designs that will last well into the future.
Yeah, I'd say every life has a degree of personal tragedy. We've certainly had a fair share of our own. But as you say, what we focus on really is environmental tragedy. As we all know, but through wonderful work of Sir David Attenborough with his documentaries and things, we are facing environmental crisis and species decline. And so that's what we choose to focus on. And we spend our time trying to rectify those things one garden at a time.
So give me a sense then, if I were to ask you to come design my garden, what would you start with?
So I start with you. It begins with the personal and ends with the social, shall we say.
Nice.
So I'd firstly focus on your needs and how the garden can help you overcome personal difficulties, well-being, enhance your lifestyle, really have a positive effect on you emotionally, physically, mentally. That's where we start. But what we find is it's very, very much interlinked. As soon as we have a positive effect on you, we also have a positive effect on the environment. It goes hand in hand. So the flowers that we install for you will also attract pollinators, bees, butterflies. And then we're looking at how on an environmental level we can have a really big impact, so using sustainable materials, resources, and making sure that we can encourage lots of wildlife and species into the garden. So that it really goes hand in hand.
Certainly from a property expert's point of view, the pandemic, I think, has heightened many people's appreciation of their garden space, be it large or small. And I think a greater understanding and respect for the value of just having a moment to enjoy that sense of space. But I guess with your designs, you're taking those notions to a completely different level.
Yeah, a lot of people have had extended time with their gardens and have really come to appreciate the effect it can have. The Devon Wildlife Trust did a fantastic piece of research, and they said that all of our private gardens add up to a bigger space in cubic meters than all of our nature reserves combined. So we see each and every garden as a piece of the patchwork, as a piece of the puzzle, in firstly bringing a positive effect for our clients, for the individuals, but more importantly as this network beyond the walls of the garden that's going to help to restore the environment.
But in terms of the notion of triumph over adversity, where do you think you've met the challenges, and what have been the greatest challenges?
So a lot of the great challenges we have is the way that gardens are currently completely underutilised, and in effect they're barren, they're sterile. So we often arrive at a garden and we'll find it with no ecosystem whatsoever, no wildlife. It's not sustaining either the people living there or the wider ecosystem. So we find pest infestations, we find all sorts of problems with imbalance. The soil has no microorganisms and it's dying. We need to take it from what is a sterile, barren piece of land, and we need to turn it into Eden, really. We need to make sure that there's enough species in there and that there's enough of the systems restored in order to enable symbiosis with the wider species.
Well, Phoebe, thanks very much for joining us. Best of luck with the awards. You and the Natural Design Studio are clearly leading the charge to overcome the adversity that many of our garden areas face and urban areas, of course, combined. It's a fascinating job. I kind of wish I could do it actually more regularly on days like this when the sun is shining.
Yeah.
But you've inspired us all. So well done and best of luck with the awards.
That's okay. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.